The problem is, my comments, if I made these comments, and obviously I have my opinion about what's happening here. If you go to, if you listen at the state level what they're talking about, this is the trend to push the responsibility, fiscal responsibility on local communities, because some people believe that we actually have more money than we do. And this applies to schools. When you listen to the school side, on the school side, when you talk to listen to the commissioner, there is still this trend that we're supposed to handle some of these things locally here. So our town is what it is. We love the grass, we love the sheep, and that's what it is. And there is no tax base to support all these things which we want to have. Unfortunately, schools cost a lot of money. And unfortunately, as soon as anyone gets involved and try to look at what can and cannot be cut, there are all these constraints which do not allow you too much space to maneuver in terms of what you can and cannot cut. So this is not going away. This is not going to go away. At the same time, I don't think our revenue, and this is obviously your business, our revenue is not going up, so we don't have a tax base, and we have this huge tax burden, if you want to look at this purely from a financial perspective. And it does not look that the state is going to get in a better shape than it is right now, so we can anticipate what we have right now, or worse, for another several years. And when you listen to them, they are talking, you don't expect that you are going to be back where you were 2 years ago until 10 years from now. So the picture is unfortunately not pretty.
And just going along those lines, with the government, with the funding formula, they calculate the town's ability to pay. That's why we were reduced. We think, and rightfully so, our rate is high. But the state, when they do their calculations, says, "Oh, sorry, Tiverton, you can pay more." And that's how they calculated the state aid number. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's why districts, you saw the haves and the have-nots in the newspaper. And that's one of the biggest reasons is that quotability to pay plus income for the town. And then it's a very, I walked the committee through it, it's a very convoluted formula that they've developed. Bottom line is we're on the short end of it. And we don't get 10 years if that was ever enacted. We get a 6-year period as opposed to some of the other districts that get 10. I'd just like to close, and it goes with what Mrs. Durkee was saying, and I've said this to my committee in open session. And what Mr. Burgundy and what Mr. Lambert have talked about is absolutely correct. We're in some tough times here. But it's really up to the people in town as to what kind of community they want. And it's up to the members of people in town, the taxpayers, to let you know, let us know, and let the elected officials up in Providence know that, what they want. And if they want a town that has services, and a very good school department, if not outstanding. We just got word today that, again, we've met our annual yearly progress goals for all our schools. It's really up to people in town. What kind of town do they want us to be? And that's the ultimate question that will be, I guess, addressed at some point, whether it's in May or whatever the town meeting is. But it won't, as Mr. Burgundy said, we are going to have some fiscal problems, both on the school and town side for the next couple of years, because, everyone can read the financial projections for the state. It isn't getting better. But that doesn't mean we're not going to do everything on our side, just like you are, to keep costs down. And we'll do our best, and we'll continue to do our best.
Yeah, if I can just make one comment to what Mr. Beard said, because I think anybody would agree that we're looking for the best possible school. But I also believe it's a balance. We have to look at what people here in Tiverton can afford. And there's no doubt at all in my mind that for a lot of people here in Tiverton, this means absolutely nothing. It's going to be pocket change. But for a lot of people in North Tiverton, in other areas with older people who don't see their Social Security checks going up by 4.5%, or they don't see their pensions, if they have a pension, going up by 4.5%. This is real money out there talking about. And, that's the balance that we have. If it was up to me, you'd have I'll spend what you want to make that a great school system. But I think as a town council, we have a responsibility to be representing everybody in town and just recognize not everybody can put out that type of money.
You understand?
And I'm sure that's what Mr. Mayor
Okay, yeah, I understand that.
Can I ask a simple question? I'm not sure that I understood properly, but getting back to the school being 4.5%, using 4.5%, the cap, you include you're basing it on the 24.9 figure at the bottom of the second column. The cap is based on the amount we raise through our levy. And we don't raise those $5,000. Therefore, if you include that in the calculation, you're cheating the municipal side of the government. You're making the Tiverton residents pay that extra amount. Is that fair?
No, that's not accurate. We're basing the 4.5% on the top number, the budget from local only. We're not including the entire budget.
You're saying that you're basing it on the 20,047?
Correct. We're not increasing.
We don't include the state aid.
To the contrary, we're estimating a cut on the state aid number.
Okay.
That's why we're here.
Two quick points. One further to Mr. Landis, since you mentioned it, I just want to clarify that there are people in town who aren't older and are non-fixed incomes who have senior incomes drop. I would count myself among them, and so younger families as well with children are struggling, facing higher oil bills and such. But the reason I came up was to clarify, for my own information, Mr. Wright mentioned a figure that each teacher would have to sacrifice in order to make up the gap. Is that calculated off of your projected budget for next year or what they're currently making this year?
It's not my number. You'd have to ask Mr. Wright. We've never discussed that as a committee.
We're $1.4 million short. We have 180 certified teachers in the system. 10,000 times 180 is $1.8 million.
$1.4 million off of next year's budget, right?
Has nothing to do with the budget.
Well, it does, because the budget includes hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Gaining a cost decrease. It has nothing to do with the budget. The cost decrease, if each teacher sacrificed $10,000 worth of benefits and wages, would be $1.8 million, which would solve our problem all at one fell swoop.
Right, but you're calculating that off of the budget that's proposed right now?
No, calculating it off the population of teachers. Each teacher contributing 10,000, 180 teachers.
No, but the dollar amount that you're saying that you're
Has
coming up
nothing to
short.
do with a budget. It has nothing to do. It's just,
It's
it's
a
a
random
random
number
number.
Pick
to look,
5,000.
to look for a cost decrease, yes.
Right, but if the budget next year were only $700,000 short, you would only need half that to make it up, is what I'm saying. And I think the 1.4 comes from
And our
next year's
attorney would
budget.
probably need
I
the
think
same
we need
amount
just
of.
one person at a time at the podium, okay?
Okay,
So we keep the record.
I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you for inviting us as well. Thank you.